Welcome to another video. This is part B of the videos about how to find sources. I finished off the last video talking about ebooks, and so I'm starting that off here. If you remember where I was earlier, I was at the SWIC library, and how I got here is I went to books and movies. At the bottom, they do an advanced search and online videos and stuff, but I clicked the ebooks button, and it took me here to all these databases. And this is really cool. All of these have different ebooks in them. So similar to how EBSCOhost and JSTOR were going to help you with articles, this is going to help you with ebooks. And I think a lot of people sometimes forget that books exist or they help them. But since we are in a pandemic, it might not be as easy to get a book from the library. So ebooks are going to be a lot more helpful probably during this time. But they can, don't forget about books. Like, I think a lot of people, in my experience, a lot of my students have automatically gravitated towards Google. And one purpose of a lot of these videos is I want to show everybody where you can find information that's not on Google, that's already available to you by being a student here at SWIC, but also because research is a lot of trial and error. It's a lot of, oh, this didn't work, let me go someplace else. So I encounter a lot of students in the past who have just looked at one like database or one area to look at, and then they've come to me and said, I can't find research. So oftentimes I am like, okay, well, what did you try? And so they'll tell me what they tried. It ends up being only one thing, and then I can help them find something else. So a lot of what I'm showing you here isn't like necessarily the 100% trajectory that you have to go, but trying to show you how you might think about research and what you might do next. If you try one thing, go to something else if it doesn't work, okay? I was just skimming through this, and I did find one source here. It was for ebook library EBL. It's through ProQuest, and I think it has a lot of really interesting information too, and you can like look for different authors or something. This looks very user-friendly versus the last one I was at. So I would suggest maybe going to here, and again, that's at the bottom. It's called ebook library. It's under multidisciplinary. So multidisciplinary just means it could have a various amount of plethora of different topics. If you're looking to stay in the same realm of EBSCOhost and Jeff Chico in relation to general kind of ideas, I would suggest looking at one or all of the databases underneath the multidiscipline, because it's going to help you find lots of different information. But all these are still ebooks, right? And so if you're looking for science, technology, and medicine, any of these ebooks are going to help you. If you're looking for arts, humanities, and social sciences, any of these could help you. But I would say if you're still trying to figure out what you're writing about, if you're still trying to kind of figure out the niche of the idea of what your topic is, and you're just trying to discover different ideas, start general, okay? If you know everything that you're trying to say, and it fits in one of these types of these two different database collections, maybe look at that, okay, a little bit more, because they get specific, a little bit more specific. But having said all that, all of this information I just talked about in the last video and this video is information that can be helpful towards you looking for information on SWIC's website. All of this is on SWIC's website, okay? After you do all that, if you look at EBSCOhost and JSTOR, you look at references pages, change your search terms, change the rules of the database you're looking at to kind of help you out a little bit more. You look at ebooks. If you've done all of that and you still can't find information, then I'd say go to Google, okay? Go to Google or whatever search term you use. Because Google's not necessarily horrible, and I don't want to say never use it, but it can seem overwhelming. A lot of people go to it because that's what they're familiar with and that's what they know. But in the last video, I searched religion and technology, and I had over 700 million sources versus EBSCOhost. I narrowed it down to 2,000. And so it was a lot more manageable, a lot more easier to deal with. And you knew that all, if not most, of the information you're looking at is going to be credible and helpful for your paper, potentially. So if you're looking on Google, be careful that you are I said in the last video, you don't necessarily only have to look at .org sites. Remember Wikipedia, I said in the credibility video, the credibility sources video, Wikipedia is a .org site. So don't just necessarily find a website that you think, oh, it's 100% credible. If you're on Google, you're going to have to do a lot more work to make sure that your at source is credible. If you're on SWIC, that doesn't necessarily mean you don't have to do that work, but you're going to find a lot more sources that are credible versus not. So I would highly suggest using SWIC's database. I'm hoping that these videos showed you all information about how to find that information. Remember, for your sources, for your papers for essay number 3, you need to have at least one credible source. You can have a few more. I wouldn't say make it a full-blown research paper, but definitely have at least one source of your paper, and have that information to be able to show, you know, how you're supporting your thesis. And so it needs to be something that's relevant to your paper. But there's so much information out there. Internet's a great way to do it. You can contact SWIC's library if you need to do that. If you need help from their librarians, it can be really helpful. You can contact me if you need some more help. But please let me know if you have any questions about finding information or finding sources for your essay number 3s. But otherwise, have a great day.